Hello everyone, I am Ujjwal Sagar. I have completed my MSc in Biotechnology from University of Jammu and currently I am pursuing MTech in Biotechnology from IIT Guwahati. So I'll be discussing about the topic Mendel's laws of inheritance and inheritance of one gene. Before starting this topic, we'll be discussing about few terms that is very important for the clear understanding of this topic. The first one is heredity. So heredity is the transmission of characters from one generation to the next generation. Okay, it is just transmission. Okay. The second term is inheritance. It is the process. It is a process through which characters transmitted from parents to their next generation. Okay. The next term is genetics. It is branch of biology that deals with the study of inheritance. Deals with the study of inheritance and variations. Okay, and this term was given by scientist William Davidson, and the father of genetics is Gregor Johann Mendel. Okay. So moving on to the next term, the next important term is variation. What is variation? We under genetics we study inheritance and variation. Now, what is variation? So variation is the degree by which two individuals from the same species how they differ from each other. Okay, if you see like two Homo sapiens, like there are clearly difference among them, like height, skin color, etc. Okay, moving on to the next term, progeny or offspring. These terms are used very interchangeably and they are the next generation from the parents. It is the next generation from parents. Okay. And the next generation can be produced either through sexual reproduction or asexual reproduction. But for asexual reproduction, a special term has been given. It is called clone. So the generation or the organisms which are produced through asexual reproduction, they are termed as clone. Clones are carbon copy to their parents. Okay, and clones are produced through mitosis. Okay. Now moving on to the next term, character. What is character? So the observable and measurable feature of an individual is called character. For example, height, eye color, skin color, blood group, etc. They are called characters. Okay. There is a very important and confusing term which is related to character. It is called trait. So trait is nothing but the different variants of character. For example, if you take the example of character, height. Okay, so it has multiple variants, tall and dwarf. So this tall and dwarf are the different variants. They are called traits, and this height is character. Okay. Moving on to the next important term, so moving on to the next important term, genes and alleles. What is gene? So gene is something which is present on chromosome on specific position which codes for the character of individuals. Okay, so they code for characters or traits. More specifically, traits. Okay. And what is allele? Allele is the alternative or contrasting pairs of genes. Okay. Suppose there is a gene A, capital A. There is a gene small a. It is responsible for tallness. It is responsible for dwarfness. So they both. It is a gene. It is a gene. But they are alternative to each other. They are contrasting to each other. That is why they have been given a special name, allele. Okay. So now we'll see. These are present on the homologous chromosome. Alleles are present on the homologous chromosome. Suppose this is chromosome 1. It has its pair chromosome chromosome 1. One comes from father, one comes from mother. So suppose on this position this gene A is present. On this on the same position on the chromosome 1, that the homologous part, it is present here, that is gene small a. Okay. So they present on the same locus on the homologous chromosomes, and that is why they are called alleles. Now we'll move on to the Mendel. Mendel took Pisum sativum, and which common name is garden pea, and he spent his 7 years of life on the experiment on pea, and for the first 2 years he spent generating true breeding lines. True breeding lines. True breeding lines means, suppose if a plant is there, if it is pollinated, self-pollinated, it will always produce tall plant. It is always form tall plant, tall, and so on. And if it is a plant which is dwarf and it is self-pollinated, it will always form dwarf plants. So they are called true breeding or true lines. Okay. So what Mendel did, Mendel took one tall plant, one dwarf plant. Okay. Now we know genes are present as capital D, capital T. Why? Because as we see, homologous chromosomes, they are always present in pair, and it is always in 2 in number, that is diploid. So it is capital T and capital T, and for dwarfness it is small t, small t. What Mendel did, he pollinated this tall and dwarf plant. It is having the genes capital T, and it is having the small t, small t. He breeded these plants. So what will happen? There will be a gamete formation first. Capital T, among these only one gamete will come. So it is one gamete, it is second gamete. From here also gamete formation will happen. Small t, small t. Now randomly these gametes will fuse. Okay, this, and it will form zygote. This is zygote. Now this is F1, first generation. This is parental generation, P1. Okay. Now these individuals having the genotype capital T and small t. So the resulting, what he found, the resulting plant were all in the F1, they were all tall. Okay, they were all tall. So what he concluded, the gene for tallness was dominant and the gene for dwarfness was recessive. From there he gave the first law, law of dominance. Okay, among two contrasting alleles there is a dominant gene and there is a recessive gene. Okay, and also here we can see from the result he concluded there is a separation of genes, alleles. So there is two gametes here from the gene. So second he gave law of segregation. So in this topic we'll discuss up to here. Thank you.